Randall friends. I'm here from our beehive. I came today to check on the bees and then also to clean off our mite tray, which is an area under the hive that will trap the mites, or the mites will fall onto after they've been in our hive. So to do that, I used our bee brush and our hive tool. And I scraped it nice and clean. That way tomorrow I can come back and see how many mites are on the mite tray. That way we know if the bees need medicine to help get rid of the mites. So today, me and my friend Scout here have a book called The Flight of the Honeybee. And this is written by Raymond Huber and illustrated by Brian Lovelock. The honeybee is one of the smallest creatures in the world. It may be the most important for life on Earth. It's the planet's greatest pollinator, moving pollen from one plant to another, causing flowers to produce seeds and fruits. Honeybees can live in the wild or in boxes made by beekeepers. A honeybee can't live alone. It's part of a family that works closely together. A bee is always changing jobs. First, she's a cleaner, then a babysitter, a builder, a guard, a scout, and finally a harvester. This is the story of a scout. A bee the size of a cherry pit, crawls from her hive. Her stripes glow golden in the morning sun. Scout has spent her whole life in the crowded hive. Now it's time for her to fly out and explore the world. Time to search for flowers from which to collect pollen and nectar for food. Her sister bees are inside making honey, but will there be enough? The cold is coming, and Scout must find the last flowers of fall. There are about 50,000 female bees in a hive and very few males. I think there's only about a few hundred males. Scout's wings hum to life so fast that they are almost invisible. Lifting her into the wide sky, she rises in a spiral, up, up, and away from the hive. Scout remembers what she passes as she flies, so later she can return home. She knows the sun will guide her too. Bees navigate using sunlight, landmarks, and smell. They also have a magnetic sense that's like a built-in compass. Scout flies swift and straight as an arrow. The wing buffets her, ruffling her fine hairs on her face. But she keeps on steadily and rides out the rapids. Eyes as black as polished stones are searching, seeking a splash of color below. An arresting smell drifts on the breeze. Scout locks onto the scent. She flies over a clearing, and spread before her is a marvelous meadow, an ocean of flowers. Bees are furry, even on their eyeballs, and their hairs help them sense changes in the wind. A flash of feathers! Oh no! A hungry blackbird swoops in for the kill. But Scout zips down and escapes into the trees, weaving between tangled tree twigs. Many creatures eat honeybees, including other insects, like wasps, dragonflies, spiders, frogs, birds, and mammals such as bears and badgers. When the coast is clear, I forgot the picture. When the coast is clear, Scout is drawn to the sea of flowers again. She settles on a velvety petal and plunges her head into the flower. Here is sunken treasure, a cup of sweet nectar. The tip of her tongue, shaped like a miniature spoon, sips the syrup. Scout zigs and zags from flower to flower, spreading pollen around. The pollen clings to her fuzzy body, a sprinkle of sun powder. Bees are charged with static electricity during flight, which attracts pollen to their bodies. They also have an extra stomach in which they carry nectar home. Scout has finished drinking. She must tell her sister bees about this field of blue. But a thunder cloud cloaks the sun. All at once, the cloud bursts. Rain batters Scout to the ground. She crawls under a leaf as hailstone bombs explode around her. Bees avoid rain and storms. Raindrops can damage them and chill their wing muscles, leaving them grounded. So here's Scout hiding under that leaf from the rain and the hail. The downpour passes. Scout picks up the scent of her hive and follows it. Outside the hive, there's a squad of guard bees. A yellow-jacketed enemy is attacking. Scout knows that twitchy way of flying. It's a wasp! The wasp grabs Scout as she glides into land. It raises its stinger, but the guards move in, wrestling the wasp with their legs. Wasps invade beehives to steal honey and to eat baby bees. Honeybees sting only to defend themselves. They will die if they sting larger animals that have fur or skin. So that's the battle with the yellow jacket. And some of us have seen that at the Randolph Hive too. It's pretty crazy to see. Scout is safe inside the hive. Scout is safe inside the hive at last. She begins a dance on a wax comb. The audience gathers, captivated by the floral scent on Scout's body. Scout spins a story and dance. Every movement is a sentence. Scout waggles, twists, turns, describing the route to the blue meadow. She pauses only to share samples of sweet nectar. Scout repeats her dance for many sister bees. The bees' dance is a complex language that can communicate millions of different messages. So there's Scout doing her waggle dance. Now that the sister bees know where to find the meadow, hundreds of bees take off. They flick from the hive like golden pebbles. Bees need to harvest nectar from more than 2 million flowers to make enough honey to fill just one jar. There's all her sister bees flying into the air. And the reason that they're saying sister bees is because the drones, or the males, have a very different job. Only the female bees are worker bees that gather honey, or that gather pollen and nectar to make the honey. And then they also are the ones that make the honey because they have the honey stomachs. Back in the hive, Scout passes her precious nectar to the house bees. They put it in the comb and fan it with their wings. The nectar will be transformed into liquid gold, honey for all the bees to eat. Nectar is mostly water until bees dry and thicken it by beating their wings, converting it to honey. Scout visits the nursery where the babysitter bees pluck the pollen from her body and mix it with honey to feed the babies. A queen can lay thousands of eggs a day. It's the job of a few male bees in the hive to fertilize the new queen. Nearby sits the queen, long and lustrous. She's the mother of all bees, laying eggs that look like tiny grains of rice. So you can always tell because she's always a little bit bigger. Exhausted after her mission, Scout rests her silvery wings for a spell. Soon, she will join her sister bees in the blue meadow for fall harvest. With enough honey, her family can now survive the winter. Scout's daring flight has been worth every beat of her wings. In its lifetime, a bee can travel more than 500 miles on flower runs until its wings eventually wear out. Alright, and then that's the end. I hope you enjoyed Flight of the Honeybee, and I'll be back soon with some updates from the hive so that you know how our bees are doing. For today, too, I've also kind of come up with a little bit of a bee craft, and I wanted to share something with you all. This is a honeycomb, or a model of a honeycomb, that I 3D printed while I was in school. You might notice a certain shape that all the cells are made out of, and these are kind of like the cells that the bees will put the pollen or the nectar into, and then they fan it to make honey. These are 6-sided shapes that all fit together just right, and they actually maximize the space that a bee has. You might be able to see that shape too from the bottom. Can't really tell with the light. So, if you guys wanted to make something similar, you just need some kind of piece of paper, a toilet paper roll, and some scissors. And you can cut your toilet paper roll into about 6 pieces that look kind of like this. And then I marked this one so that you can see if you fold it in half, there are 1, 2, 3 segments. And if you fold on the lines, that'll give you that special shape that the honeybees build their wax into. And that's a hexagon. So for mine, I just taped all my hexagons onto my piece of paper and I spray painted the whole thing. But I'm sure you guys have a lot of awesome creative ideas you could do with that too. I hope I get to see some if you make them. And I look forward to seeing you guys again from our beehive.